All right. So today we're gonna tackle something that
Okay.
it's always there, but it's kind of behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and it's goodwill.
Okay.
Now you're probably thinking, dropping off clothes and
Right.
things like that, but we're talking about goodwill.
Yeah.
In business.
Yeah.
And this is, you've been looking into the financial side of things, and
Mhm.
this is a big deal when it comes to
Oh, absolutely.
businesses and how they operate and really their value.
Yeah.
And we're gonna kind of look at this. We're gonna deep dive into it.
Okay.
And our source for this is Pasted Text.
Perfect.
And I'm really curious, what is goodwill exactly? I mean, how would you explain it?
Yeah. So when we talk about goodwill, we're really talking about the monetary value we're placing on a company's reputation. So it's all of those intangible assets. If you think of a company, they've got their physical locations, their equipment, their inventory, but then there's this whole other side of the business that relates to, the customer loyalty, the brand recognition, the management team, the relationships that they've built. And all of those things have value.
And it's not, something you can really put your hands on
Right.
necessarily, but
But it can be worth a lot.
worth something.
Absolutely.
So, okay, it's, so the reputation is this good vibe. How do you actually,
Right.
How does that translate into dollars and cents?
Yeah. I think one way to think about it is to think about it as like a celebrity endorsement.
Right.
So you have a product, and maybe it's a great product, but then you have some well-known celebrity, somebody who's got a great reputation and people like them endorse the product. And suddenly that product can demand a higher price. You can maybe attract better employees because they want to be associated with that brand. So it's a similar concept with goodwill in that it allows a company to maybe charge higher prices for their products, attract better talent, get better loan terms from banks, maybe weather a downturn in the economy better than their competitors would.
So it's it really can make or break a company. I mean, it's
Be really
forced to be reckoned with this goodwill.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting. It's not like you just stumble into goodwill. Companies actually have to cultivate it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, they have to put in the work. So you think about companies that are known for exceptional customer service, or they're really focusing on sustainability. Those efforts are going to build goodwill for them.
Right.
They're not just doing those things out of the goodness of their heart. There's a strategic reason why they're doing it.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I think there's a great example in the source material. When Nestle bought Blue Bottle Coffee,
Right.
Nestle, this big, huge company.
Massive multinational.
Right. And then Blue Bottle, kind of a,
Yeah, kind of trendy, more of a niche.
artisan coffee,
Right.
darling. And, they bought it for a lot of money, but a big chunk of that
Right.
wasn't like physical stuff.
Yeah.
Like roasters and things like that. It was for that cool.
Yeah, for that brand, for that coolness, for all that goodwill.
Right.
Yeah.
That came with Blue Bottle.
Absolutely. That's a classic example of when you see goodwill at play in mergers and acquisitions.
Mhm.
These companies are willing to shell out huge sums of money to get these brands that are already established, that already have this great reputation, because they know that that can really be a difference maker for them going forward.
Yeah.
It's much harder to build that organically.
Yeah, it's like buying their way into success.
It can be seen as a shortcut. Yeah.
But it's not
Right. It's not a guarantee.
a guaranteed thing.
Right.
No.
Think about it. You've got this company that's got a very distinct culture, a very distinct way of doing things.
Mhm.
You try to bring that into this big corporate environment,
Yeah.
and sometimes it clashes, and it might not work as well as they thought it would. So it's not always a guarantee of success.
It's a risk. It's a gamble.
It is.
But it's interesting. And then, how do you measure this goodwill? I mean, it's not like you can just, count up
It's not like counting inventory, right?
inventory. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really difficult. And, there are different valuation methods, but there's always going to be some subjectivity involved in it. Because how do you put an exact number on something like trust or loyalty or brand equity?
Yeah. It's like measuring a feeling.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess I'm curious, from your perspective, what are some companies that come to mind when you think about goodwill, when you think about that?
Okay. Good question.
Really strong goodwill factor.
So I think, immediately some companies that come to mind are companies like Patagonia, with their commitment to environmental sustainability, or Tom MS Shoes with their, one-for-one giving model.
Mm-hmm.
These are companies that, they've gone beyond just selling a product. They've really aligned themselves with these values that resonate strongly with their customers.
Yeah.
And
And
I think-
bringing that purpose with
Yeah. And that creates that emotional connection.
their customers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, it almost makes you want to support them, not even just for the product, but for what they stand for.
Right. Not just for what they sell, but who they are.
Right. Who they are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So goodwill. It's really powerful stuff.
Yeah. And it's something that individuals can cultivate as well. Just like a company has its brand, so do you.
Oh, wow. So we can we can grow that. We can grow our own goodwill.
Yeah, think about it.
Well-
You've got your own reputation, you've got your network, you've got your skills and your experience.
Mhm.
All of these things are part of what make you you, and all of those things have value. And you can think about how you interact with other people, the quality of work that you do, the values that you demonstrate. Those things are all contributing to your personal goodwill, and that can really open doors for you and create opportunities.
Wow. So, to wrap things up,
Mhm.
goodwill, it's this intangible asset.
Yeah.
That is really powerful.
Incredibly powerful.
And it can make or break a company.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes beyond reputation. It's that trust,
Right.
the loyalty, the shared values, those connections,
It's the emotional connection.
emotional connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that we can cultivate it,
Yeah.
individually.
Empowering.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's a good reminder that, while tangible assets are obviously important, those intangible assets, the relationships we build, the values that we demonstrate, the impact that we have on other people, those are the things that create lasting value.
That's a great way to end this.
Yeah.
So goodwill, something to think about.
Absolutely.
Thanks for breaking that down.
You got it.
And that wraps up our deep dive.
Great talking to you.
Yeah.